Hello students, welcome to our discussion on next module which will focus on dynamic programming. So far, whatever we have learnt, our objective was to define the objective function that we were trying to maximize or minimize, write the constraints, and then use some method, maybe a Lagrangian multiplier or using linear programming approach or simplex method, which we learned through Tableau approach, is to find the maximal or minimal solution. However, one thing you might have noticed is that once we define the problem, that is, once we define the objective function, and once we define the constraint, we were not changing state of the system, or we were doing sort of static modeling that time. However, when we talk about many real world applications, including applications in water resource systems, we would be dealing with dynamical systems such that their state changes with respect to time. Now, when we talk about these state changes, that would mean that at time t, we would have different amount of resources that are available. As the time passes or time crosses, some of these resources would be consumed, and then we will have an updated state. Or it may happen that some more resources added to this Q2. So we can have Q1 equal to Q2, Q1 less than Q2, or Q1 greater than Q2, and all these status, they define that what is state of our system. And whenever we are talking about dynamical system, we are also interested to look into sequential decision making. For example, that we are trying to look at the problem where we want to maximize our gains throughout the year. So we can mark these months as December, November, October, and so on. We can go backward and say January. So we say that we want to maximize our returns on certain investment throughout the year. And these return on investments, they could be how satisfied these water consumers are, because water still essentially remains a welfare subject in many countries. So we want this water to reach out to various households, and we want to maximize the benefit over a period of year. So what we have to do is we have to make decisions for December, keeping in mind that our upstream is also accounted for. That is, if we are trying to optimize the entire system or trying to distribute the benefits throughout the year, we don't want to spend resources in the first month itself and then let all the years run dry or without any supply of water. Similarly, another problem that we typically deal in water resource systems is water allocation problem. Let us say that we have some n units of water that can be allocated in total to different users. Here we are marking them as user 1, user 2, user 3, and we can have as many users as we have in a real system. And here, just for sake of simplification, I'm going ahead with the 3 user example. Now, one thing is for sure is that if we make some allocation to this user is going to give us some return R1, this is going to give us some return R2, this is going to give us return R3. And in most of the real world scenarios, this return is definitely the function of how much input this guy is actually using. So that R1, R2, they in fact becomes the function of input. And whenever we have some state, once some usage happens, the state of system changes. For example, if we are starting from here and total n units of water was available, we allocate 3 units of water to user 1. Now we have to make sure that principle of continuity, that is conservation of mass, is always followed. And when we go to the next user, we are essentially having n minus 3 as updated state of the system. And now if this user uses some another amount, let us say 4 amounts of water, then we should be left with n minus 3 minus 4 amount of units with an objective that sum total of R1 plus R2 plus R3 is maximized, because whenever we are talking about optimizing something, we are either looking for a maxima or minima, and here objective is to maximize the gains throughout the system. Now, one problem arises is that when if we just try to assign all the values of states to all these individual users, this essentially becomes a problem of combinatorics, and we would be dealing with essentially infinite. And whenever I'm using this word infinite, I'm using it in loose sense, that is very large number of permutations of allocations. And to avoid that, we need some strategy or some principle. So the principle here is famously known as Bellman's optimality principle. First of all, I will state what this Bellman's optimality principle states formally, and then we will try to cover this with an intuitive example. So Bellman's optimality principle says that given the current state of system, optimal policy for remaining stage is independent of policy adopted in previous stages. So what does that mean? What this complex statement means? It means that let us say that we have to make many sequential decisions in a system. What we have to care is that whenever we are standing about on this stage, we should not care about how we have arrived at this particular point. We should always try to look forward and try to maximize the gains from wherever we are standing. For example, when we take one user system, we would be somewhere here. And we say that given that whatever is the state that we have here, and this state could be total amount of water that is available to us, we want to make an allocation in a way such that our benefits from just this user gets maximized. Now that means is that as we keep on moving backward, we only have to look forward and account for all the blocks and come up with the solution that gives us the maximum return, accounting for everything that is there in the forward direction, so that when we reach the first point or first block, we are readily having the solution of downstream block, and when we add them together, we quickly identify the optimality. And this will become even more clearer when we go towards an example that I also discussed in class. Now, if you look at the example here, let us say that we have three users, user 1, user 2, and user 3. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And we are having in total 6 units of water that is available to us. This problem has been adapted from our textbook Vedula and Majumdar. So in case you have any confusion, you can also refer to the solution there. So with this 6 units of water, we have to make an allocation in a way that our total return R3 plus R2 plus R1 is maximized. Now what we have to do here is that whenever we allocate some units to 3, we should have something lesser of a value to allocate it to, because out of 6, if we allocate all 6 to 3, we would have nothing to be allocated downstream to 2 as well as 1. So in that case, our return is going to be 0, and it clearly looks like it is not going to be an optimal solution. Similarly, we can allocate 5 here, we can allocate 4 here, so we can allocate 1 here and we can allocate 0 here. So if we allocate to user 3 5 units, we are going to have a return of 5. If we allocate 1 unit to user 2, we are going to have allocation or a total return of 10. And for 0, we are going to have return of 0. So our total return is going to be 10. And here return can be thought of a revenue, which is a tangible benefit or measurable benefit. It can be also measured as social responsibility that an organization or policymakers may have, and it could be measured in terms of some satisfaction metrics that are based on how people of that region feel qualitatively about the quality of water and the quantity of water that they are receiving. So these scores are basically telling us some performance metric against which we are benchmarking our optimization. And one thing is, we have to keep in mind that whenever we are talking about engineering optimization, numbers are always at its core. So here we will try to use this dynamic program and try to understand that how we can apply a Bellman's principle to such a simple problem. So what we will do, we will make different tableaus, and these tableaus are going to be very different from what we had in simplex method. But what we will do is that we will start from downstream or from the last block, and we will say that let us say everything is available for this user, and right now our focus is on this, and we assume that all the are possible. That means if S1 is 0, that means we have already finished all the water by allocating to user 2 and user 3, the state is going to be 0. And if we have 0 units of water available, we can only allocate 0. If we allocate 0, the return that we are going to get from this user is also going to be 0, because from the tableau of returns, we can clearly see that if our allocation is 0, our user 3 is going to return 0, and right now we are focusing only on user 1. So our entire focus is here on user 1. So with that, what we will have here, f is the return for a given state or the maximum return that we are getting. And in this case, this simply becomes 0. And this will become more clear as we move forward. Now, when we have state of 1, there are two possibilities. We can allocate 0 unit of water to x1 and we can allocate 1 unit of water to x1. And here you can see that this x1 or allocation has to be always less than equal to the state of the system, and it has always to be greater than equal to 0 because we don't have an option to withdraw the water. Also, when we talk about the state, this state of at 1, it has to be always less than equal to q, and it has to be always greater than equal to 0, where q is the total amount of water that is available. So these two equations, they also serve as a constraint for us. So we will give S1 as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. But state and consumption, state may tell us the upper bound of how much you can consume, but it's up to user how much he really wants to consume from the state or total allocation that we have provided to them. So now if we say that S1 equal to 2, this user can go for 0, 1 and 2. Now if we go with 1, what we will do here, return that would come if we allocate 0 is 0, return that would come if we allocate 7, 1 unit is 7 units, and out of this the optimal solution or f star corresponding to state of 1 comes out to be 7, and that would happen if we allocate 1 unit of water. So how to read this table? It says that if 1 unit of water is available at the end of S1, we should allocate maybe forcefully to user 1 to use 1 unit of water so that our returns at that particular point are maximized. And that's what exactly we are putting Bellman's optimality principle into usage. Now, when we go with 2, this becomes 0, 7, and if we allocate 2 units of water, it becomes 12, and hence we say that we should allocate 2 units of water here. If we go with state equal to 3, we are looking for 0, 1, 2, 3, and our returns are 0, 7, 12 and 15. That would mean to maximize our gains, we should have the returns of 15 by allocating 3 units to our user 1. Now if we go to S again, we will go to the next stage, which is 4. So our x1 could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here returns are going to be 0, 7, 12, 15, 16, and again all these returns I am reading from the first tableau that I also recommended to draw on piece of paper separately during our live interaction. So what we will do here, we will allocate the 4 units here so that our returns are maximum. So if 4 is the state of water available, ask user 1 to use all of that water to satisfy the Bellman's optimality principle. And again, we are not caring how we arrived at 4. We will look into that when we go into the problem upstream. But as of now, state is 4, allocation is 4. Here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we should allocate 0, 7, 12, 15, 16, 15. Now you see that instead of allocating 5, even if 5 units of water are available when we are reaching user 1, we should allocate 4 so that our returns are maximal amount of 16 and allocation is still 4. Similarly, we will do the allocation for 6 units and then try to see that how these values look like. So we'll write 6 here. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will do 0, 7, 12, 15, 16, 15, 12, and out of that we will allocate again 4, so that would become 16 allocations here at the end of 4. So if you clearly see, we can always write this in a mathematical form, that maximize F1 star S1 subjected to S. Our S has to be less than equal to Q whenever I am standing at this user 1, and our X1, it has to be less than whatever is the state available, and I'm writing all the possible cases in for a given value of S. And here we are doing the allocation discretely. So the specific case of dynamic programming that we are discussing here is the discrete dynamic programming. Now let us move to user 2. Again, when we are talking about user 2, let us look into our block diagram. So we will have user 1 and user 2, and there is user 3. Again, applying Bellman's optimality principle, we would just focus onto these two users, that whatever is the state from here, we have to maximize the overall gains up to this point, because we do not care up to where we have reached. We will always look downstream and try to maximize our gains here. So at S2, we will again start our iterations with 0. So X2 could be 0. Returns that we are going to get is 0. If S2 is 0, if we have no amount of water here, nothing is consumed, the output is again going to be 0. So our S1 is 0. Our total return are 0. Here, this again becomes a trivial calculation. Now let us see some more interesting example. If S2 is equal to 1, then what could happen? This user 2, they can consume, let us say, 0 unit, and they can consume 1 unit. If they consume 0 unit, our return is going to be 0. If they consume 1 unit, our return is going to be 5. If if out of 1 unit 0 is consumed, we are going to have 1 unit of water available here, because our S1 is simply Q minus S2, and since Q minus X2, and since in this case allocation to X2 is 0, we are going to have 1 unit of water available here. We will again write 0 here. So F star S1, it would become that if we allocate 1 here, we have already identified the best solution that we are going to get if we have state of 1 is going to be the value of 7, because that's what we should make them consume. So this would be 7, and if 0 is available, we are going to have 0. If we combine the total value, we are going to have 7 plus 0, 7 here, 0 plus 5, 5 here. So that would mean if we look at the optimal solution, we should have the value of 7 as the best possible value. So our F star S1 plus R2 X2, out of 7 and 5, we should definitely go with 7, and our X2 star in that case should be equal to 0. That means let us not allocate anything to user 2 and let the water go to user 1 if only 1 unit of water is available. If we go to 2, that is state at the beginning of user 2 is equal to 2 units of water are available. So we can have 0, 1, 2. That would mean that returns that we are going to get is 0, 5, and 6. If we end up allocating 0 units, that would mean 2 units of water are available for user 1. 1 unit of water is available to user 1 if 1 unit is allocated to user 2, and nothing is available for user 1 if 0 units are allocated. So again, what we will do, we will identify the optimal solution from user 1 table. So if we have 2 units of water, our optimal allocation is 2 with return of 12. So what we will do here, we will write the return of 12, and allocation doesn't matter here. We only care about how much of water we are allocating. So the return that we are going to get, and in this case, if we allocate 1 and 1 to each, that would mean for user 1, if we go to state 1, our optimal return is going to be 7, and if we allocate both units of water to user 2, our return is going to be 0. So our total return basically comes out to be 12 plus 0, 7 plus 12, 7 plus 5, and 6. So that means that we can either allocate 0 unit to user 1 or 1 unit to user 1, and we should be able to identify that. And I'm also writing here, if this represents the allocation to user 2, we are going to have 2 units of allocation to user 1 and 1 unit of allocation to user 1. Whatever I am writing in red is user 1, and whatever is written in blue is definitely X2. Here I am going to write if 1 unit to user 1 and 0 unit to user 1. So this is also an optimal solution up to that point. So now if I go to Z3, 0, 1, 2, 3 becomes the points, the returns are going to be 0, 5, 6, 3. If 3 units of water are available, 0 is allocated, 3, 2, 1, 0 are available as possible values of states here. for user 1. So we will look into the 15, 12, 7, 0. So we will again write it as 15, 12, 7, 0. So our 15 plus 0, they become 15, 12 plus 5 becomes 17, 6 plus 7 becomes 13, and 3 plus 0 becomes 3. So this is our optimal value. So that would mean we should allocate 1 unit to our user 2, and out of these we should allocate 2 units to our user 1. Now we will move to our next case where we will have 4 units of water to be allocated. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this would be 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and this would be 0, 5, 6, 3, minus 4. And if we look at the returns for user 1, we will again go back to our optimized table. So this would be 16, 15, 12, 7, and we will fill it here. 16, 15, 12, 7, 0. Total return is going to be 16, 20, 18, 10, and minus 4. So our allocation should be 20. So what we would do at x2, we are going to allocate 1 unit of water, and to our user 1 we are going to allocate 3 units of water, because combination of these 3 allocations, because we get this return when we allocate 3, and because the f star s1 corresponds to the allocation of 3. So this is going to be our allocation to user 2, and this is going to be our allocation to user 1 if 4 units of water are available. Let us quickly move to 5, and please see it very carefully. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if we look at the returns, this would be 0, 5, 6, 3, minus 4, and corresponding to 5 we have minus 15. If we allocate 0 here, we have 5 available, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When we have 5 units of water available to user 1, we should only allocate 4. So here we are going to have returns of 16, but corresponding to allocation of 4. We are going to have returns of 16 again, and all these units would be allocated 16, 16, 16. What I'm doing, sorry. So this should be 16, then 15, 12, 7, 0. So our total return is going to be 16 plus 0, 16, 16 plus 5, 21, 15 plus 6, 21, 15, 3, and minus 15. So we should definitely go for allocation of either 1 unit or 2 units to user 1. So 1, 2 here. If we allocate 1, 2 here, we have to allocate 4 and 3 to user 2. So I will again write this in red. So this becomes 4 and 3 to user 1. 4 and 3 for user 1, and 1 and 2 for our user 2. Now we are left with one more iteration. So let us look into that. So if we have 6 units of water available upstream of user 2, we have option to allocate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would mean here we can write 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If we allocate 0, returns would be 0, 5, 6, 3, minus 4, minus 15. And if we allocate 6, we are going to have return of minus 30. And if we look at returns from that user, we are going to have the returns of again 16 coming at allocation of 4, 16 coming at allocation of 4. We have a return of 12, or at 4 also we have a return of 16, then 15, 12, 7, 0. And if we look at combined returns, all we have to do is 16 plus 0, 16, 16 plus 5, 21, 16 plus 16, 22, 15 plus 3, 18, 12 minus 4, 8, 15 minus 7 again becomes 8, and minus 30 becomes minus 30. So our allocation here should be 22, and to do that we should allocate 2 units to our user 2 and 4 units to our user 1. And we have completed allocation for user 2 again. Now, when we go to user 3, that is going to be interesting, and we would not need all these demarcations now. So I will just delete those demarcations. And the reason is that here only single state of 6 is possible, because your upstream, we have not allocated anybody, because now we have moved to the topmost user. So the system can only take one state which is equal to 6, and allocation could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we allocate 0 here, whatever is available to next user is going to be state of S2. So this would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And if we talk about the returns here, I should have also added one column of returns. So what I will do here, I will change the name slightly here. So we will keep this as x3 star. This would be return corresponding to x3, and this is the return corresponding to the maximum returns we are going to have with these allocations of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 to user 2. If we talk about 0 allocation to user 3, our return is going to be 0. If we talk about allocation of 1 for user 3, our returns are going to be 5, 8, 9, 8, 5, 0. All these comes from the same column where I had these initial cost mentioned. So I'm just writing all these values into our into our column here. So now if 6 is the S2, state of S2, we have already determined if 6 is the state of S2, we should have the maximum return of 22, and this would happen if we allocate 2 units of water to user 1. So first of all, let us try to finalize that how much we should allocate to user 2 here, and this comes out to be 22, because if 6 units are available, optimal value was 22. So our return is going to be 22 plus 0, as we have R3 as 0 here. Here what we are going to have, if we have 5 units of water available at beginning of S2, 5 units, we should allocate 21. And when we allocate, uh, uh, we should allocate corresponding to the cost of 21. So this becomes 21 plus 5. If 4 units are available, we should allocate 4 units corresponding to 20. So we will write 20 plus 4 here. If 3 units are available, we will go here, and correspondingly we should have returns of 17 plus 3. Here we should have returns of, for 2 units, sorry, this should be 20 plus 8, this should be 17 plus 9. We are looking at the returns here. Here it should be when we are allocating 2 units. Here if we could go to 2 here, our maximum return is going to be 12. So if 16, and we should allocate 12 plus 8, which is 20. And if 1 unit is available, we will go here, and for user 2, where maximum return is going to be 7 for that state. So we will write 7 plus 5 equal to 12. And here if 6 units are allocated all to user 3, our return was 0. So this would become 0 plus 0 equal to 0. So if you look at optimal solution, that is going to corresponding to the case of 28. So what we have here, we have all the solution that we should allocate 2 units to x3, and this comes when our state of user 2 is 4. When state of user 2 is 4, we have to allocate 1 unit of water to user 2 and 3 units of water to user 1. And if we add it 3, 4, 5, 6, so this becomes our final allocation. That means if you have 3 users, user 1, user 2, user 3, 3, to 1, we should allocate 3 units of water to user 2, 2 units of water to user 3, 1 unit of water to user 1, and 3 units of water to user 2. And this would give us the maximum return of 28 units. And this is